Quick video looking at the Chevy Volt 16 kilowatt generation 1 battery pack. Been doing the Orion BMS, which to a lot of people can look really daunting when you open it in the box. You've got piles of different cables. If you've never done a BMS before, it can obviously be quite a scary task. It's quite simple really. You start from the negative most side, work your way down in order around the pack, and then if you actually look at the BMS itself, I mean this is the last one of my run, but you have a negative being the black cable every 13. So you have -1 and 1 to 12, and you have -13 and then +13, and so on and so forth all the way along. Now on these Chevy Volt connectors, this took a while for us to work out. So the far two left pins and the far two right pins on every single connector, even the ones which only have 6 cells, are temperature sensors. And then the first pin, so there, is your negative, so that's -1 and then 1. And then on this one, you see that would be like -13 for instance. So the first pin on every single, well, not the first, but after the temperature sensor, the first top left pin is a negative of that cell below. Apart from that, it's fairly straightforward, as you can see. And then you end up with a loom I've been making up here that plugs directly on. The only thing I've had to do extra on the Chevy Volt pack is because the Orion is negative every 12, the 13th one out of every 12 block is a negative. It's worked out okay on the first part of the battery, and I've got -1 there, -13 there, but when I get to the next lot, I've actually had to solder in additional negatives because it doesn't line up with the negatives on these pins to be in the right position for the Orion. But if you head to their website and go into the Orion you've got, there is a pinout. You can basically input how many cells you've got, where your fuses are, cable lengths, and it'll give you a nice diagram that basically shows you the end of this connector and numbers each and every single one as to which cell it goes on and which negative it goes on. Really, really useful. It's made the job really, really easy. So hopefully by the end of today we'll have everything wired up. We'll come back. We're just going to show you guys the setup. So as you can see, that's temperature sensor. Same at this end, temperature sensor, temperature sensor. And this here is -1, as you can see. And then that's number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they go in a staggered order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. End of the day, and as you can see, we have our Orion BMS all wired in. Even have my coolant pipes in. They were a bit of a nightmare, but they're all in now. And I've set the BMS obviously in my box, so I've got this little box over here. I'm going to bring all my BMS lines out through. I'm also going to have my 2 contactors in there and my pre-charge relay within there, and a fuse which will then come out and go through the firewall in the Skyline. Just so you have a quick look. Now with this one here, unfortunately it didn't finish on the Orion run, so I've had to link one of the Orion looms to the next one to pick up because it seemed to fall on an uneven amount of connectors. But no, it's all in all, it's come out very neatly. Only thing I've got to do is get some sticky back tie wrap zippers to hold all the BMS cables in position long term. But yeah, next is high voltage lines and contactors, probably in a couple of days time. Please subscribe and like our YouTube page There'll be a lot more coming with other builds that we're doing on, including the Tesla powered Skyline using a large drive unit and a full Tesla rear end.